All right, welcome back. So, we had a good session. Some stories out there. We'll continue to learn. What we'll do here is extract life and relationship lessons from trendy topics, so that we can continue to learn. I know y'all would like to say, social media is not real life. I'm telling you that no, it is real life. Okay, even when you're talking about celebrities, they might be magnified version of what we all go through, but nonetheless, human beings, we have a lot more in common than we like to admit. We like to say, oh, but everybody's different. Yeah, we know that, but we have a lot more in common than we like to admit. And if you don't agree to that, how are you going to learn? That means you're just telling us that we're all doomed and we might as well just continue to throw mud at the wall and hope that something sticks. That's a bad way to live life. That's terrible. Saying that life has no manual is terrible. Saying that marriage has no manual is terrible. Saying that parenting has no manual is terrible. I know what you mean when you say that. I know the original people who used to say that are probably trying to say, hey, everybody's story is unique. I agree with that as well. But sometimes when you repeat the talking points over and over, you don't know who is listening and they are misinterpreting that to mean, let me just throw myself into the middle of the streets and just act anyhow. You know, the anyhowness, right? No, me and you, we cannot afford to keep having people in the streets doing anyhowness, okay? Because my children and your children may end up getting married to their children, and then we end up with a catastrophe, okay? In life, there's a way to do things. We have methods to our madness, and there are patterns, okay? Before you talk to 3, 4, 5 people, you will see a pattern. The pattern doesn't have to be absolute truth. It could just be a form of guardrail for your life. Like, oh, I noticed that when I spoke to about people that have been married for 50, 60, 20 years, happily, healthy relationships, I noticed that they tend to say this one thing. Then maybe it must be true across the board. And if it happens to be like that's your one story, it's just not happen to be true for you, you're called the exceptions. What's the chances that you're going to be an exception? Almost none. But if all you want to sit down there and say everybody is different, not all, and all you do is not all, if that's all you do, you're not learning anything. And the most valuable relationship in your life is your relationships, like the closest people around you. So why wouldn't you want to learn all the patterns? So yes, because of that, I am coming up with the Prestige Marriage Manual. I'm coming up with the Prestige Dating Manual and the Prestige Relationship Manual. And the goal is the objective is, if you're dating, the objective is to get into a healthy relationship that can lead to marriage in 1 year or less. Okay, so a lot of people that are in relationships for years, they have no idea where it's going. And then for the Prestige Relationship Manual, the goal is to get into a relationship that can end up in a marriage, a healthy marriage, in 1 year or less. It's not a matter of rush. It's just understanding that time is also a factor. No matter how much we try to pretend or cap around that, time is literally life. Okay, so if you sit around and things are not happening, the scripture talks about hope deferred makes the heart weak. That's real life. Okay, does that mean you should rush? No, it's about life. It's a balance, right? That you're looking. It's a balancing act, right? So you don't want to sit out there and be in denial when you know that you desire something better or you desire something different, right? But if you're exactly where you want to be, obviously I'm not speaking to you, So with that being said, we'll be approaching all of it from three angles. Okay, we'll be approaching it from a proactive standpoint, and we'll be approaching them from a reactive standpoint. Okay, but in between the proactive and the reactive, we'll be approaching that from active standpoint. Okay, so for every one of those courses and those programs, they'll be available for free for the members. Okay, for the members of this channel. So if you see join, it says join, you can join as a member for less than, I don't know what the prices are, but they are $5 or less. Some of them are $1. It depends on the level. Okay, per month, I think. Yeah, so just go check it out. But I will start dropping them very soon. They're going to be in modules, 21 modules for each side. But for when I say sides or phases, I'm talking about dating, relationship, marriage, right? So we have the proactive. There are certain things that you want to put in place. Okay, put in place even before you enter the situation that helps you mitigate future problems. You know that life is going to life. There will be conflict, there will be crisis, there will be situations, things, incidents, matters will arise, regardless of what phase you are in life. Even if you're a single person living in a cave, like, we never get married. Yeah, even you. Matters will arise, incidents will happen, and but there are things at every phase you are, in the beginning, right in the middle of it, or as incidents are happening, right? There are things that you can do to mitigate and to be in the best position ever, where you'll be like, I got this, right? So proactive are things that you embed into your situation, foundational in nature. But foundation is not something you build one time and you leave it alone. It's not set and forget. Foundation is something you continue to enrich over the life of you. Okay, foundation is not so what happened, the foundation was bad. No, the foundation is something that you never stop working on. Okay, you don't get married today and then say foundation done. That's not how that works. Okay, there's nothing in life that will build in that way. Let me speak to us Nigerians for a second. We have a tendency to build things without building maintenance into it. We have a lack of maintenance culture, right? We build things and then we forget it, or we build it half-ass and then we jump into the middle of it and then we collect and then we blame the rest of the world for it. And guess what? The world is a real thing. There's going to be more than enough things around you to blame. Sometimes they look like in-laws. Sometimes they look like a side chick. Sometimes they look like, everything else but self, you will blame, right? But I'm telling you right now, there are things you can do, and I'm not talking premarital counsel. Premarital counseling is just that, okay? Whatever that is, it's just that, okay? I'm talking about educating yourself on how this works, okay? Educating yourself, learning that, hey, there's something is happening. There are written down rules that you can apply, okay? And when it comes to application, obviously application will be tailored to your particular situation, but there are rules, okay? Me too, I don't really like rules like that, okay? But when you don't like rules and you say, hey, I just do my life based on no rules, guess what that becomes? A rule. That's life, okay? That's life all in itself. So like I was saying, right, we're going to do the Prestige Marriage Manual. We're going to do the Prestige Dating Manual. We're going to do the Prestige Relationship Manual. So, and then also there's going to be certain aspects of it that's related to the male gender, and then other side related to the female gender. What I'm saying is that I'm actually going to teach from a standpoint that there is social construct. And if you choose to swim against the social construct because you forgot that you want love and connection, but now you are playing human activist, you don't know the difference between the two, right? I'm going to speak to those nuances, because those conflicts right there will destroy your life if you don't know what you're doing, okay? If you want to change the world, you start with yourself. And it starts by your ability to listen to your surrounding, understand your environment, the environment you live in, okay? And if you're going to, it's understanding holistically, okay? You need to understand that. So as opposed to, oh no, this is the way it's supposed to be, well, there's a lot of supposed to be, okay? As a matter of fact, when I say something is a manual, then it's almost like I'm preaching to a supposed to be. But there's application for everything you go to school to study. There's application, and you notice that everywhere you go, the rules can change, but doesn't change the fact that there's a manual. It doesn't change the fact that there's a playbook that you can look up things and you say, what does this say about this? Interesting. Neither right nor wrong, but it gave me a better insight to what makes people work. At the end of the day, marriage comes down to one simple thing, okay? Understanding human psychology. Now, how that applies at every phase is different. Based on your culture, is different. If you're a Yoruba person, an Igbo person, you're a Nigerian person, you're an American person, you're a Nigerian American, meaning you have a discombobulated, right, culture that you're living by subconsciously. They can play out all differently, right? But we have to start from some kind of baseline where we can operate from. So if you're going to have a successful marriage, right now, as we move into the new era, into the modern era, further and further and deeper into the modern era, if you're doing this with blindfolds on, you go collect. this. Okay, that's what most people do, by the way. If you're doing this with blindfolds on, okay, you go collect.
Sorry.
Many of our parents, they didn't teach us what we're experiencing because they didn't live in that world, so they couldn't teach us what they didn't know. Okay, but we owe it to ourselves to sit together, understand it, and come and say, hey, these are the variables, this is what we've noticed, these are some patterns, and this is what we need to pay attention to. Okay, but we need to approach it from a proactive, active, and reactive standpoint. Proactive is essentially things you can build into it before you get into it, into you as a human being before you get into it. Then active is you understanding that in anything in life that's worthwhile, there has to be check-ins, there has to be measuring the temperature, checking the vitals, like anything. Remember, so many of you are professionals, you know these things, making sure that things are good without being overwhelming or coming off as a lame, right? That's the active. And then the reactive is like incidents, things happen, conflict happen, and mama came over and decided to take over your house or throw your soup away because she's angry with you because she thought you came from a terrible household and you're a bad child that her son married and you don't know. Those are incidents. How do you react to that? How do you learn from that and use that to continue to enrich the foundation? Remember, the foundation is a never-ending thing. It's not something you build in the beginning. So for the most part, I always say here, for the most part, the question, did you not ask questions at the beginning? They are stupid questions, okay? All of us are going to enter situations that we didn't see coming. The goalpost is always moving. It's a moving target, right? So, but when you're prepared, when you're open-minded about what I just said, you're better off than most people, and everybody else, they're collecting, right? Like I said, most human beings are just walking zombies, and you don't know what they're going through in their marriage, in their relationship, until you see all the stories we're covering right now. Anyway, hopefully you've been enlightened today, educated. I'll see you on the next one. Do me a favor, hit like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified. Look out for that. I'll be dropping them. You'll see them in your feed. I'll be dropping them into the members area, but you'll be able to see them on your feed and you can decide when to jump in. And if you don't want it or not, that's fine with me. But nonetheless, we will continue to do this work. Hit like, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you can be notified when we go live. I'll be back as soon as I can.
This is Ola, Man of Prestige, your favorite relationship and marriage coach. If you enjoyed this, smash that like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Be a part of the Prestige family. My wife Lola and I have written 2 powerful books, Get My Marriage Back and Number 1 Red Flag, yours free at manofprestige.com. For personal coaching, send me a WhatsApp request for consultation to +1 732 305 8577. Stay tuned for more. Your journey to love and prestige starts here.